I'm here to promote the Flow Grout. This is the new Rock-Tite range. I'm just going to give you a very quick brief of how we mix it, install it, and install on any project that you've got coming. So, mixing bucket. So inside here there's 3 5-kilogram bags. For every 5 kilograms you use 1 litre of water. So that is 1 litre. On the side of the mixing bucket there is gradients on there, so you can actually see what you've gone up to. As I said, inside here there's 3 5 kilograms. There we go. So what you tend to do, pour half in first, give it a whisk, and the reason you do that is it just makes it easier to whisk it through. That's incorporated. Then your second half. Now I know straight away I haven't gone up to quite up to the 1 litre mark. I need a little bit more water with that, because sand also makes a big difference. The absorption of the sand makes a difference to the consistency. That now is the consistency I'm after. So you'll see, looking at this, it resembles levelling compound, and there is a reason for that. Is when you see me pour it out in a minute, it will find its own level in the joints, and it will find its way into every joint. So a really good mix. You do that for 2 reasons. A, to make sure you get rid of the lumps, which is the most important one, but also to make sure you disperse the colour throughout the mix. That's really important as well. Right. So if you were doing this on a large scale, just put that down there for a minute. What you would do at this stage, if this was a large patio, you would get a mister on a hose and you'd mist the surface. You don't want to flood the surface, you don't want pools of water, especially in the joints. You just want to wet the surface, make sure everything is damp and nice and wet. So you'll see, all I'm going to do for this purpose is go over with a sponge. But like I say, for ease of use, you'd spray everywhere and cover everything with moisture, and that's really important because it just makes the process a lot easier. So you've dampened up everything, then you just get your mix. Now it's important as well when you're mixing, I never mentioned this a minute ago, to try and mix on a low speed, because you don't want to incorporate a lot of air into the mix, because that's when you get pinholes. But you'll see how easy that pours, and you can see straight away as I'm pouring it into the middle of there, it's already working its way into the joints. This is the flow side of it now. You can see it flowing into the area. Now what we do now is, on a large area, you don't want to be on your hands and knees. This is the beauty of this product. You'd use a long handle squeegee and you'd push that out, and you just stood up pushing it into the different joints. What I'm going to do here just for this purpose is mimic that with a hand squeegee, and you can see how easy that's flowing into these joints. Look how easy they run in. Again, into there. That one's already filled. So what you do, so I'm going to go all around these little joints around the side as well, make sure they go in. But look how easy that's just flowing, and you can see it running into the joints. And what you do, you just keep pushing it round, working it into the area. And what you'll find is, with some tiling jobs, there'll be voids underneath the tiles. The grout will find its way into those voids. So ideally you want to make sure when you're fixing, when you're putting the tiles down, there are no voids. But if there are voids, you'll see it settle in, and sometimes you can see they'll slump, because obviously there's a void there, and you can see that's just starting to go down. So all you do is just push it into the area and just keep going over it until you're happy that it's set. Now, I mentioned a minute ago about it being temperature sensitive. It's quite a warm, windy day here today, I would expect this to go off. When I say relatively quick, the whole idea of this is you've got about an hour, depending on temperature, an hour in hot conditions, 2 hours in cooler conditions. Wouldn't recommend using it past 20 degrees. After 20 degrees you're going to struggle because it's going to start to set on the surface. But you can see it just finds its way in. You let it cure up. Now what you do now is you get off as much off the surface as you can. So you go around with your squeegee at 45 degrees to the joint, because if I go down the joint I fetch it out the joint, you see. So you always go at 45 degrees to the joint, and if you do that you get this beautiful finish, and you're looking to get that as flush as you possibly can. And with these porcelain tiles they've got a rectified edge, so it gives you the best chance of getting that finish. And what you do, you just keep going round, making sure you fill all these little voids, keep pushing it in, and then what I'll do in a minute, when it starts to firm up, I'll start taking it off and making sure I leave as little on the surface as I can, because once that starts to go then I'll give it a quick wash over with a sponge again at 45 degrees to get off as much of the surface. Let it set up. After about 1 to 2 hours, then give it a second wash off, and that's it. Buff it off and you're done.